What's up? Welcome to my property. I like to call this place Elsewhere, but you guys can call it what it actually is, the middle of nowhere. In actuality, this place is about 30 minutes outside the city of Tucson, Arizona, in a town by the name of 3 Points. And I know what you're thinking, there doesn't seem to be a whole lot going on out here. Well, unless you're a huge fan of cacti and scorching sun, you'd be right. But there was a few things I could find out here that I couldn't anywhere else. Very cheap land and a quality of life I've been looking for a long time. Most important of which is my freedom. You see, I worked my entire 20s away and with nothing to show for it. I owned nothing. I had nothing in savings. All of my paychecks went to my bills, as I'm sure many of you are familiar with. But I did have a big break, I'd say. I was able to build up a TikTok following, and I was able to sustain myself for months just off that, my Twitch streaming, and yes, my OnlyFans. So I decided to set out on an adventure doing van life. And let me tell you, it fucking sucked. But one of the reasons it may have been so god-awful is because I was living out of this thing. Yeah, it's not much. In addition, I was trying to make my living off content creation and live streaming gameplay, and when you're running off battery power and mobile Starlink internet, it just doesn't really cut it. And as I'm sure it happens to many other van lifers, I ended up just crashing at my best friend's place. I had known him for years growing up in my hometown in New Jersey, but he had made the move to Phoenix, Arizona for schooling years ago. So after overstaying my welcome and being depressed and overall just hating my life, I knew it was time to move on. But rather than be a rational human being and give up and go back to being either a chef or a contractor, both of which I had some experience in doing, no, I decided to push onwards. But I couldn't go back to sleeping in Walmart parking lots and free campgrounds anymore. No, I needed a property that I could park the van safely on every night and come home to. So through some smart marketing, I decided to tattoo my own face, and I had some videos go viral on TikTok in doing that, and I was able to drive that traffic over to my OnlyFans. Hey, whatever works, you know, but I was able to make enough that month, just enough to purchase this land for cash for $11,000. That was in May of last year, of 2023, and I promptly moved out to this lot of land. And yes, I got it for cheap because there was nothing here. It is raw land. There was nothing when I started, and I quickly realized that I would not last through the Arizona summer heat in an enclosed vehicle, so this became the site of my first campground. In addition to getting my hammock strung up, I built myself a campfire, which has since been abandoned. I also set up a retaining wall and a gravel bed. Now, there used to be a gazebo positioned right here that I slept in every night for the first 4 months. But yeah, welcome to my new home, at least until the wind blows it away or a meth head comes and steals it. Oh, come on, are you fucking kidding me? This thing made it through an entire monsoon season just for a stray gust of wind to take it out. Rest in peace, gazebo. But we've since moved on to bigger and better things. Now, all the while I was documenting my journey on TikTok, and chalk it up to me watching too much of the TV show alone, or perhaps just always wanting to build up a property myself, my content started performing really well on TikTok, and I started making enough where I could actually fund DIY projects out here. So the next project I decided to take on was this massive corrugated metal fence. Now, I didn't know how to weld, so I had to teach myself. And in hindsight, it was really stupid to do it in the middle of an Arizona summer. I mean, 110-degree days every day. I almost set fire to the property like 3 separate times, but we got it done, and it turned out wonderful. A big reason why I was teaching myself how to weld is because I was toying with the idea of building myself a container home. But the more I was posting content, the better it was performing, and the more eyes that were on my videos. And I had a couple brands reach out. I had Stamback Services provide me with a porta potty out here, and I had Zen Tiny Homes, who liked what I was doing so much they provided me with a storage container build, all for free. While they worked on this thing, and before I could take delivery on it, I had to make sure it had a concrete slab to rest on. So I got to work digging this all out by hand, set up a 20 by 20 concrete form, added some compacted gravel, and I had a company called JCS Concrete out of Victorville, California offer to come all the way out here and pour it and finish the concrete for me. And on a totally unrelated note, I also happened to get engaged around this time, and my fiance got me this home gym as a gift, and to no one's surprise, I rarely ever use it. But thank you, Lamar. Now, I need to take a second to point out that although this property was sold to me as raw land by an investment company, there already was water provided to my property line. See, there's a community well in the area, and the seller had no idea. So all I had to do was install a meter, and I got access to sweet, sweet H2O. Since finding out I had water to the property, I built myself an outdoor shower and bath. I laid concrete pavers underneath this turf mat. I set posts. I built some cedar and steel privacy walls, complete with a Hansgrohe shower system, a cowboy tub, a French drain, and a propane water heater. But honestly, this thing works so poorly, I never even want to shower. But hopefully sooner rather than later, we get our 400 amp electrical service and I don't have to worry about propane anymore. But before we get into all this stuff, there's one more DIY project that I have to show you. Yeah, that's right, it's the chicken coop. If you've been keeping up with my content thus far over on TikTok, you'll know I've been working on this thing for what feels like forever, but thankfully we're finally onto the interior. And actually I have to do some spackling before the sun goes down, so hopefully we get to that. You'll also notice that there's plenty of site prep going on behind this thing, but that's part of a much bigger build that I will discuss in a later video. If you're interested in seeing this entire build process, you can see that on my other platforms, but it's complete with a sliding glass window. We got some little nesting bays with an access roof, which is pretty cool. It's got an electrical inlet to power this baby. We also did some custom barn doors, one for the chickens and one for the humans. You'll see I put up some hardy board on the interior of this thing. It is shaping up to be a very bougie chicken coop, but who knows what I have in store for this thing. It might just become my temporary bedroom or a streaming room. Only time will tell. But hopefully I did a good job in this video getting everybody here on YouTube caught up with my progress on the property from the last 10 months, and I hope I've enticed you to stick around. But trust me, I got plenty more in store for this channel, whether it's property updates or DIY projects such as this one, or tutorials, or hell, just some motivation to get you guys out of the rat race and live alternatively as I am. But let me know what you want to see from me. Comment down below, give me a like, make sure you subscribe. I appreciate you. I'll see you next time.